Hey everybody, welcome back to Sorvent's non-meta tournament number 3. So if you aren't familiar with how non-meta tournaments work, it's basically a tournament that follows its own ban list and pretty much the majority of meta decks and cards and degenerate strategies such as like FTKs or like floodgates are banned, and it just promotes more of a healthy game, a healthy format, something that rogue decks can sit and grind against each other and actually have like a really good time playing. But without further ado, we have Hexagon number 7, who was on Hungry Burger last time, and that should tell you pretty much that he's on meme decks, I guess, in general. And Conman, which is playing on Dark Magician. So it looks like Conman is going to be winning the die roll or the rock, paper, scissors. I know a lot of people are a little upset that I call it the die roll, but it's a form of, random method to determine who goes first or second. But Conman's going to be going ahead and starting it off. Do let me know if I should keep the hands open or not. I guess I've never really had them closed or whatever, or like not shown or whatever, but I'll probably be doing that for this tournament outside of this game. But yeah. Anyways, Magician's Rod's going to come down and use the effect to search for Circle, and then he's going to activate Circle, and we can see what he banishes here. So he does get a Call by the Grave, a Dark Magician, and an Emergency Teleport. So obviously the Dark Magician's the only target there. He can stack his deck, which I believe he's probably... I didn't actually see what he put on top, but we might see here in a second. So Eternal Soul and Solemn Warning is going to be set. Basically, he has pretty good interruptions, at least 2 interruptions here in the forms of Warning and Circle. So that's pretty nice. So he's going to pass his turn, and Hexagon draws for turn, and he is on, if you could tell, Volcanics. And not just Volcanics, obviously Paleo Volcanics, just because Morella has some really good synergy with Reload. So he's going to go ahead and use Duality to reveal Scattershot and Rocket. He's going to add the Rocket, which I guess makes sense because he can always have access into the Scattershot in the forms of Morella. So he does have a Raigeki in that way. So he's going to normal summon Rocket, and he's going to be hit with a Solemn Warning here. Next, he's going to be setting a Storming and a Morella, as well as a Dynamistress. I think it makes sense to keep the Reloaded in the hand because you can go into Dynamistress to discard it, and then obviously pop a card. So he's going to pass this turn. In the end phase, Eternal Soul is going to come down to special summon Dark Magician. Circle is going to trigger to banish a back row, which is Storming the Mirror Force, and he draws for turn. In standby phase, he can... looks like Hexagon's actually thinking of a effect. So he's going to go ahead and use Olenoides to target the Eternal Soul, and that makes sense. I mean, he's just going to get rid of it, and then he can really... Yeah, so he's going to use Chainlink 2's effect of Souls to Search, which is very interesting here. Hexagon probably should have waited for Conman to use Eternal Soul to summon the Dark Magician, but he just kind of shotgunned it. But Eternal Soul's effect has to mandatory blow up the field, so on the resolution it's going to destroy the Rod and the Dark Magician, and he doesn't really have anything else in his hands, so he's going to pass his turn. I probably would have set this Call by the Grave here, because obviously I'm not sure if he's familiar with the Volcanic matchup, but you can use this to negate the Scattershot, and then it's banished forever, and then they won't ever be able to Scattershot Raigeki you again. But in the end phase, he's going to be using Dynamistress to target the Olenoides, and he's going to, I assume, be chaining the Olenoides here. He should do it technically before Reload because it doesn't discard his cost, so you have to do your Chainlink 2's Olenoides. But it looks like he's just clearing that off. And comment says, do I shark? And which is kind of funny. But yeah, so Circle is going to be banished here, and Olenoides is... yeah, okay, there we go. And then the Dynamistress is sent as well. So he can also use the effect of Morella to get another Trap in Grave and then trigger this Dynamistress. But I think he's going to actually doing that right now. So he's going to chain the Dino, send another Reload to Grave, and then he can go into the battle phase and hit for 24. And I assume in main phase 2 he's going to overlay for a Toad. So it looks like he's going to be... Actually, he's not going to be making a Toad. That's actually very interesting. I'm not sure why he's opting not to do that. So it looks like Apprentice Illusion Magician is going to come down here by discarding a card out of his hand to summon itself. It's going to search for a Dark Magician. So he could have definitely, like, you know, had the Toad to negate this, which I'm not sure what else Conman would have been able to do in that case. But he's going to go ahead and use Reload, I assume, yeah, in end of main phase 1. And he's going to be sending Scattershot and send 2 more for cost. And then in Chainlink 3, yep, he's going to be using the Call by the Grave to banish the first Scattershot to negate it, which unfortunately does negate both effects, so he won't be taking the burn or anything. So yeah, it technically has to activate, so Hexagon is right here, so technically these both have to activate, but because they're negated, they're mandatory to activate even though they can't activate, if that makes sense. Or they can activate, but their effects are just negated. It's a little weird of like the wording, but yeah, that's how that works. Storming Mirror Force is going to be used here. I assume that Morella is going to be chained, and the Apprentice Illusion Magician is going to be going back to the hand. He's going to be summoning the Apprentice Illusion Magician yet again and passing his turn. Blaze Accelerated Reload is going to be used to send Shell to the graveyard, and then he can use Shell's effect to pay 500 and then add another copy of Shell. And then he can go ahead and normal summon this Royal Firestorm Guards to shuffle everything back and draw 2 cards. Royal Firestorm Guards is pretty crazy, even because you can target itself, so it's essentially a Pot of Avarice, but on normal summon for Pyros, if that makes sense. So he's going to then overlay all 3 into and this is a little hard to pronounce. Anomalakaris, I believe, is the way to pronounce it. And then he's going to use the effect to pop the Apprentice Illusion Magician. And it looks like Witchcraft Golem Aruru is going to be chained here because a spellcaster was targeted. It can summon itself and then send this Royal Firestorm Guards back to the hand. So the effect will still resolve. It doesn't negate anything. It just puts herself on field as well as put whatever she targets on the field back to the hand. And Anana Malakaris is unaffected by monster effects, so obviously that's not why you would not target the Anana Malakaris. It's a little hard to pronounce. So, Command draws for turn, and he draws into Magician's Souls, which is really nice since he can just send this and then special summon the Dark Magician out of the deck. Or out of his graveyard, rather, since he already has all 3 in circulation. Then he'd go ahead and, I assume, go into battle phase and just force out the Anomalakaris to pop the Golem. Or no, it looks like he's going to actually pop the Dark Magician, which is a little interesting. And so yeah, that's going to go through. He's going to be taking 400 points of damage with the Golem Maruru, and then Conman's going to pass his turn. So, in the standby phase, does this come back? Oh, once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, return this card to the hand. So it actually does. That's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. So Rocket's going to be coming down here and searching for a reload, which is going to put in a lot of work being able to get rid of both of these shells over the couple turns on, Conman's turn as well as his own turn, being able to draw 2 new cards as well as get another search for shell. So he's going to swing in for another 1900, putting Conman on a pretty big timer. He's at 1700, and so even if he sets a monster, the Firestorm Guards can probably attack for game on the next turn. So we'll see. So another Aruru is drawn for turn, and he just scoops it up there, which makes sense. So going into game number 2, Conman's going to be taking first, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you don't really want to play into all the trap cards. So Rod is going to be normal summon to grab Circle yet again. Circle is going to be banishing the Dark Magic Attack, Eternal Soul, and Apprentice Illusion Magician. So the only ones you can really grab is a Soul and Attack. But you'd obviously probably grab the Soul because Attack is searchable by Soul. So yep, that looks like exactly what he's going to do. Then he's going to return the rest. And then he's going to be going ahead and setting Eternal Soul as well as Call by the Grave, which is pretty good because you could stop the scatter shot that he just drew for turn. In main phase 1, Pot of Extravagance is going to be coming down to draw 2 new cards, drawing into Dynamistress as well as Firestorm Guards. And yeah, I think we're just going to see 4 sets and passing his turn. So in the standby phase, main phase 1, looks like everything's actually all good. Apprentice Illusion Magician is coming down to go ahead and search for another copy of Dark Magician. And then he can probably go ahead and flip this Eternal Soul. For some reason a coin was flipped. Oh, they were flipping for the win. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, it looks like a normal summon of Dark Magician is actually going to be used here, since, I mean, obviously the Dark Magician deck doesn't really use the normal summon. He's going to be using Eye of Timaeus to go ahead and get into the I believe the one that can't, like, you can't break the back row or whatever. But Dynamistress is going to be chained here to get rid of the Dark Magician, and then Eye of Timaeus will be basically fizzled or whatever. It'll just go to grave since it won't be on the field. But Eternal Soul is going to be chained here so that Dark Magician is unaffected by card effects, meaning that Dark Magician will survive this. And it looks like there's no other way for him to basically get get rid of the Dark Magician. Like, you can't chain Olenoides. He doesn't have an Olenoides or like a Canadia to chain here or anything like that. So that's a little unfortunate. So Souls is going to be chained here to grab Dark Magic Attack, and then he's going to be going ahead and banishing a back row, hitting Waking the Dragon, which is going to go ahead and let's see what he can special with 6 cards in his extra deck banished. So it looks like he's going to grab Ultimate Falcon, which is really good, being 500 attack over the Dark Magician. It's going to be a little hard for him to out this. So let's see what he can do. I believe that... Okay, so they were just clarifying the effects on it, but Morella is chained here, and then he can go ahead and send a reload, and I guess it's the Dark Magic Attack is going to be resolving to pop the reload as well. And the turn is just ended there. Obviously, this Dragon Knight can't attack over Ultimate Falcon, so it's going to be a little bit hard for him to get over it. I definitely think it would have been really good for him to use the reload to discard the Scattershot so that he could trigger this Storm or Firestorm cards. But I think that's really not that big of a problem. Shell's going to be activated here to search for another copy of Shell, and then he's going to be using Blaze Accelerated Reload to send Scattershots so that he can go ahead and burn for 15. And obviously the Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, won't be triggered here. But Call by the Grave is going to go ahead and negate this Scattershot with all of the burn effect. And Ultimate Falcon's going to be going ahead and attacking over Dragon Knight, doing 500 damage and destroying it. In the battle phase, still, Eternal Soul is going to be activated to bring back the Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, and passing his turn. So, wow, crazy. So, Soul's going to be going ahead and bringing back a Dark Magician during his standby phase. And then you can go ahead and use Soul Servant to, I assume, put... Oh, it looks like Apprentice Illusion Magician, which makes sense since this is the hand trap that boosts him. So he has a turn. Well, actually, he's just going to go ahead and use Soul Servant to draw it so he can get over this Ultimate Falcon. So he's going to do that right here by sending the Apprentice Illusion Magician to the graveyard. He's going to take 1,000 because 25 or 45, 35, so 1,000, and then 3,000 direct. So yeah, 15 or 3,500 life points, and he's going to pass his turn, drawing it a Lightning Storm. Unfortunately, they cannot be destroyed by their opponent's card effects, so this Lightning Storm literally does nothing because the back row can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So Legal Storm or Lightning Storm is a legal activation. It's just it doesn't do anything. So that's a little unfortunate, and he's probably just going to scoop it up here. All right, and moving into the third and final game. This game is really back and forth, honestly. I didn't expect it to be this crazy. Hexagon's going to be opting to go first, which makes a lot of sense, obviously. And he's just going to go ahead and set 3 back row and pass his turn. In the main phase, Pot of Extravagance is activated here. And will he use the Judgment on it? That is a very important question. It looks like he's just going to let it resolve, which is pretty likely, I guess. I mean, obviously, you probably want to save it for something else. But yeah. So he's going to go ahead and normal summon Magician's Rod to go ahead and grab another Eternal Soul. Magician's Rod's 3 games in a row. Pretty crazy. Just being able to grab that, as well as Apprentice Illusion Magician coming in clutch every single game as well. So Rod and Illusion Magician and either Soul or Circle in hand, pretty much, and that makes sense. I mean, pretty lucky draws honestly on his part. So Illusion Magician is going to be searching for Dark Magician, and then he can use Soul's Effect to send Dark Magician to the grave, summon it back, and yeah, this might be a lot of damage here. Looks like he's just going to go into the BLS link, and that's going to get hit with a Judgment, which is completely understandable. I definitely think that Conman probably didn't realize, or I mean, it makes sense that he played into this Judgment because he probably would have used the Judgment on Extravagance. So I don't think that was a complete like overlook on his part. Grabbing probably the Dark Magician here off of Circle. Yep. And then he can go ahead and put the Eternal Soul, I believe it was, and the Call by the Grave back in the deck. Sending Eternal Soul and a Circle and a second Soul, actually, he's going to go ahead and pass his turn. So hopefully Hexagon doesn't draw a Lightning Storm for turn. That'd be pretty crazy. But in the end of main phase, he's going to be using Reload to, I assume, discard, counter, and draw into a Storm Duster, which is going to be very important later to get rid of these Eternal Souls. Especially because they have a mandatory effect to pop the board, so it's essentially turning this Heavy Storm into not only popping to back row, but also popping or regecking the field, so that's going to be pretty crazy. Extravagance is going to be coming down, banishing 6 cards face down, going ahead and drawing into Crackdown and Royal Firestorm cards. So I think that Crackdown is not as important right now. He's probably... because... he can obviously chain the Eternal Soul, so that's kind of the issue here. So we're going to see. So Eternal Soul is going to be activated here to bring back the Dark Magician. Dark Magical Circle is going to be activated here to get rid of Crackdown. And I'm waiting for him to hit this Waking the Dragon again. Just, blind hitting back row. I think that maybe hitting this Reload would have been the better option. Obviously, the Scattershot doesn't really do a whole lot in this case, though. So we'll have to see. So Eternal Soul is going to be activated here to, I'm not sure which effects he was using, but Storm Duster is going to be chained to target the Circle as well as the Soul, destroying both of them, and then on the Resolution, the Eternal Soul is going to be popping the Dark Magician. So he's going to be activating a second copy of Circle, and he's going to banish 3. Looks like he hit a Apprentice Illusion Magician, Ururu, and Dark Magic Attack, so probably grabbing... Dark Magic Attack actually is a very interesting choice here. Probably he's trying to get rid of this back row maybe. I think that the Circle could do that over the course of a couple turns. So I'm not sure exactly if that was the right play. Very interesting. So Souls can't be activated this turn, obviously. So I think he's just going to pass it because he already used the Souls effect, obviously, is what I mean. In the end of main phase 1, Scattershot's probably going to be... oh, no, it's not going to be discarded. He's going to say end phase is okay, which is really interesting because this Call by the Grave is a very interesting interaction because obviously if he wouldn't have used the Scattershot, if he would have used it in, just a burn 500 or whatever, then... yeah, you can... Well, I don't think you can actually use the second effect, because I think this is an optional effect. So, yeah. So, I guess it would have just burned 500. Eternal Souls is going to be going ahead and activated here to bring back Dark Magician, and then Magical Circle can banish this Waking the Dragon, which will trigger as well. And he's going to be going ahead and summoning another Ultimate Falcon. I'm actually really curious if he's running multiple copies of this. I assume so because, the extra deck space is pretty, like, open, I guess, so you can play a lot of stuff. But, yeah, so Ultimate Falcon's going to be dropped here, and then he's going to use it to attack over this Dark Magician. Then the Royal Firestorm Guards is going to hit for 17. And, oh, okay, so the Guards attacked, and then the Eternal Soul was changed, so obviously he canceled his attack and then just attacked with it, so he won't be able to attack with the Firestorm Guards. Alright, then end phase nothing, and bringing it back to Conman's turn. Looks like he's going to be using Eternal Soul's effect to special summon. He's going to summon back the Dark Magician from the graveyard, activating Reload to go ahead and pop. And Reload's going to be chained here to draw 2 cards, or draw a card. And unfortunately he drew the Scattershot, but Scattershot can discard from hand. It's just, he didn't get the plus that he wanted really. So Scattershot's going to be triggered here to go ahead and burn. And obviously Call by the Grave is going to hit it. So no burn damage, no destruction. Obviously the destruction wouldn't happen anyways because of Eternal Soul. So just, burn 15. And he only has 3 Pyros and Grave for this Firestorm Guards. So hopefully Conman will attack over Firestorm Guards. That's hopefully what's going to happen here from Hexagon's position. That's probably what he wants to happen. So he's going to go ahead and attack, take 800 points of damage. And then end phase, he passes it back. Crackdown for turn is really bad here since Eternal Soul makes him unaffected. So at least this Firestorm Guards can activate here. Actually, very interesting thing here. I actually did catch this, or I didn't catch this. Well, I obviously wasn't spectating, but Hexagon didn't catch this. Volcanic counter is not optional. You have to banish it. So technically this Firestorm Guards is an illegal activation here because you can target the 4 Pyros and Grave, but this counter is banished mandatory when you take battle damage. It's just a mandatory effect. And then yeah, Command should have taken the 800 damage as well, but we're just going to see how this works. I'm really curious. So yeah, okay, he does check it here actually. So it's a good thing that we go ahead and see this. So he's gonna take the 800 damage. Okay, so I'm glad that they fix the game state on their own. Firestorm Guards is still gonna be normal summoned, and I believe that Dark Magician's just gonna be attacked over. I don't think that this is the right play because obviously the Eternal Soul can just bring back the Dark Magician since he hasn't used it this turn, and then he can just banish guards. So I don't think that was the right play at all. It is kind of protecting the back row, but the back row, like if he sets his crackdown, but the back row doesn't do a whole lot. So I don't think that this was at all the right play by Hexagon's part, since he could just bring back this Eternal Soul, banish the Firestorm Guards, and that's that. So he kind of just wasted his normal summon, and I think setting this crackdown here is also a waste since he can just get rid of it with Circle. So I think that he should have definitely kept the Storm Guards and the crackdown in hand, because obviously they're just going to get banished. So I don't think that it was the right play to do that. But yeah, Dark Magic Attack is going to go ahead and pop the back row. Switch Dark Magician to attack mode. And Apprentice Illusion Magician is going to be going ahead and discard it here to do 1,000 damage. And then I believe Eternal Soul is going to be activated to summon the Dark Magician and attack for game. So I guess it didn't really matter if he used the Crackdown or the Firestorm Guards since Conman already had game either way. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but wow, really, I think this was a really interesting match. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see Scattershot resolve because of this Call by the Grave, but I think it was definitely a very fun match to watch. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like. And if you do want to participate in these tournaments, we're going to be doing another one very soon. So you can go ahead and join the Discord in the link below. And yeah, we hope to see you on the Discord. It's a very fun and very nice community. So I would highly recommend that you come and join.